Hello, I'm TamBoTC channel. Let me guess, I'm talking about Cyberpunk, the opinion invalid, proceeds to play Witcher 3. Also, I was just randomly, like, standing down there somewhere, and I heard these guys get attacked randomly. And then, actually, it was these two. And the two guys that are back there are the ones that attacked them, and I came up here and killed them. It has more interactions going on than Cyberpunk.
Oh,
But, anyways, this is something I feel like Cyberpunk, I was rewatching Manley Reviews, review on Cyberpunk, his video on it, and I noticed something I didn't think about before that he was really trying to get at. Not just with, when I was watching it, I wrote down what I want to say here. The reason he points out the beginning of the game being the best part isn't just it's where the cutscenes are going their hardest or where the story's set up. Where the story is set up, it's supposed to be this. It's supposed to set up so many things for the rest of what you're supposed to experience and such, and it just doesn't match it in any way.
Looks
after
like rain.
Also, with that, the things they're setting up. If you know more behind like Cyberpunk's lore and such, it's almost like Keanu Reeves isn't just kind of forced in at the last second, but kind of feels like his character hijacks the game. What could be focused on more like interesting stuff, like if you know about all the different companies like Militech and such, or some of the different stories and of course lore that previously, like, about like the Great War or something. I don't know. I mean, you're not always gonna make a story focused heavily on just that stuff, of course. Like Skyrim probably doesn't do that wouldn't do.
hey,
like,
you! Yes, you!
Shut up. Wouldn't do that to try to follow up on the what happened to the dwarves disappearing. Like, it wouldn't set out to answer that, and of course you don't always have to do that. But the way that it feels like he kind of hijacks it, so the world and more to focus not only on specific characters to him, but to his motives, such as the big bad company, Arasaka, which isn't really your motives. You only inherited them because that is how they wanted it to go, the creators of the game and the story. Because there's not a reason that the main character should really have to go out after them. He wants to just get rid of the chip in his head without freaking dying, or she, or whatever. Characters should have to be like, and because there's not a reason that the main character should have to be like, or they want to satisfy, like they're just there to satisfy the ghosts in their head that things are actually played out the way they want them to, and to see how those characters are doing after they're long gone and such. And I made the joke, basically, did Mario's hat from Odyssey take over this game? Take over the body to write this frickin' game? Sorry, I'm kind of stuttering here and there and stumbling. The game is that you're doing the plot for yourself. You're not doing this plot for yourself, you're doing it for him, but there's all these interesting lore and other companies and gangs and stuff you could be intertwined with, or more invested in and stuff, learning more about, and you're just stuck with what he mostly wants. It's more like the side character living in your head is the main character, which they should just not just make him the main character. That's like, and I made this as a joke, but also a comparison that I can definitely see. There have been other stories where the main character isn't always the central focus, but that is still kind of weird when you need a focus, need a place to focus. Um, so I said this, that's like if I wanted to go out and see the second Dune movie, and I want to hang out with some friends, both at the movies and elsewhere. Just hang out for a time, and then we go to these different interesting locations. We want to go like a restaurant to eat, want to go to a favorite store or something. Maybe there's even a place that we can learn some things from, and have a little bit of variety scattered out through the day with our activities. And I made this joke. That's like if some dink, my friend Dave, goes along as a ghost in my head and says, "No, you have to go and meet my friends, not yours, and you have to frickin' do the things I want you to do. My will, not yours. Now, instead of the cool stuff and the variety and all those other stuff, I want you to do this a million times weaker and less variety-packed, less interesting thing over this other thing." And there'll be some dialogue or crap to trick you into thinking there's choices here and there. And I'll go do my crap. You're just the errand boy, to what should be the actual main character, which still sucks and is a lesser impressive story. That's kind of like also Fallout. You know how people hate the frickin' the typical, like, oh, the son, the father was kidnapped, or you have to go out looking for him. It's kind of like a story like that hijacked something like a Morrowind story. That's kind of how it feels with Cyberpunk. It's like you have this freaking interesting world and story you could be following instead, like what Morrowind has, but instead you get the game freaking hijacked for this freaking thing we've seen a million times of somebody being kidnapped, but in this case it's this dude that wants to freaking get back at this big bad corporation. It's like, God, it's like, there's so many cooler things. And I've already talked about so many other different problems I've had with Cyberpunk in previous videos, but this is one I didn't think about until looking deeper into, like, and having a different perspective on Manley's Reviews video on it. And you can also take The Witcher here as an example. Like, for example, technically, you can do and go anywhere there is not someone like pulling your strings almost 100% of the time, or the way through part of like a group. Like, you are part of a group or faction, the Witchers, and you learn about how they work and such, and their kind of rules and beliefs, all that kind of crap. And there's all these other factions you get to kind of interact with, and you have a specific thing that you can do to help them out, as well as take some of the bigger characters like the Emperor and Geralt. You both have a similar motivation to go out and find Ciri before the Wild Hunt does, or whatever. You want to make sure Ciri's safe. The Emperor because it's his frickin' daughter, and you because you are kind of like a father figure / teacher to her, as Geralt. So you have it's like this big giant mystery that comes together with all these other characters' stories, combining with that goal that you're focused on, and it's just much more interesting, the stuff and where it all goes and such. Cyberpunk doesn't really do that very well, and even if it does, it's still too heavily focused on Johnny Silverhand, Keanu Reeves. He's just Keanu Reeves. It's Keanu Reeves cosplaying as the main character of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, whatever. But yeah, it just, and I brought up some other videos. I actually think he used some good points towards Cyberpunk as well. Like with patches, you know how Cyberpunk was patched and updated. I wonder if Manley Reviews video called "Video Game Patches Are Borderline Illegal, They're Stealing From You." I feel like that's kind of maybe relevant to Cyberpunk. Same, maybe a similar thing with the danger of good graphics. He actually makes a point in this one. You can kind of apply this to like Skyrim and such too, or Fallout, where he uses Zelda as an example, like Ocarina of Time, and he says in a game like Zelda and such, almost every NPC is there to give you a quest or a clue or a purpose, or you whether it's towards the main story or not, or a side quest, and that maybe you like a clue that you're previously solving that it's part of, and there's like a connection there, and it has like purpose to the world and characters around you. And then he goes showing Cyberpunk for the next part of the point, which he says in modern games, everyone feels useless. They're only there as a visual representation of what a busy crowd looks like, as opposed to a living, breathing world. This almost feels less realistic as a result because of where their focus is not put in the right places, and their motives of the less important stuff over the more important stuff. That they're just more focused on. You know how people show those videos showing the little details that Cyberpunk does good? Kind of like that. That stuff is freaking important, though. You should be focused on this other stuff. Never mind trying to make your world freaking realistic and stuff. You should have focused on this other crap. Instead, your entire story is hijacked with some boring Keanu Reeves. And Keanu Reeves, once again, I've talked about has his acting in that. It kind of feels like here when Peter Dinklage voiced a ghost in Destiny. Weirdly enough, it's just not very good. I also felt the other video, which was kind of relatable, was that I feel like connects, and there's a lot of science he uses in these videos. They're only 10-minute long videos too. The real reason games aren't fun anymore, according to neuroscience, and they're really educational, really cool videos and fun, entertaining at the same time. You're probably thinking mine isn't. I'll just have Geralt's frickin' never mind. He won't stare you to death in the eyes. But yeah, I pondered back on that and thought it was a interesting thing that I was like, holy crap, I didn't think about this before. And I already have a million reasons not to like that game. I didn't need more. So yeah, and that was something interesting to me. So yeah, the danger of good graphics by Manley Reviews, video game patches are borderline illegal video he made, and of course his Cyberpunk video. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I didn't think about it because in other games, even like Fallout 4, you still are making your choices. Yes, there's a voice-acted character, and you can say the same for Geralt and Rivia. Like, that's a specific character. You're still choosing different dialogue options. Even though the dialogue in 4 sucks still, you're still choosing, like, a faction. You're still getting to learn what you want to learn about. You're still able to ask questions about this thing or that thing. All this kind of stuff. It's freaking tedious and mediocre, and while some of that stuff is in Cyberpunk, definitely, but because a much less interesting story hijacks most of it, and because you are specifically meant to talk to these characters, I think the characters that relate to Jackie might be, as well as your Ripperdoc, are probably the most, and I guess who you romance are the most that's going to separate you from Johnny, but you're mostly just doing what Johnny wants, not what you want. And I know they both intertwine at some point. It just doesn't feel like the motives are quite strongly there or established with your character, and that you don't really give a crap at the end of the day. You're still kind of just repeating a lot of the same stuff that Johnny is doing or wanting you to do. And it just kind of sucks. Imagine a game freaking like that. That's like if you made it about like Cortana taking over Master Chief. It's like, do what I want, you stupid Spartan. It's like, yeah, I don't think I'd like a game where a side character hijacks the entire thing from me when I'm supposed to be making the choices and meeting the people I want. Yeah, you got this goal in life to do this, but could you freaking piss off and on somebody else, please? Or couldn't the developers actually make you the main character or something? And even then, your story's freaking a million times more boring than something else we could have done in Cyberpunk's main story. God. Goddamn. It kind of makes me wonder too, because I think that the multiple endings you get, most of them imply that you're going to die, even though it's like, and then there's the one that's supposedly the true ending, which is really boring and forgettable anyway. As a matter of fact, it's somehow more forgettable than the others. Just like, I wonder how that fits into the expansion where you can technically save your own life. Kind of feels weird. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. Once again, if you do enjoy Cyberpunk, don't let me ruin that for you. You continue liking what you want, you continue playing what you want. It's the same thing somebody said to me too in the comments, because I had that whole Destiny situation happen, and it's like, well, why are you telling me what to play? I'm just sharing an opinion and interesting thoughts I had, and kind of like my epiphany, I guess, of said thing. And I don't know why I didn't think about it before, but I just felt like Johnny hijacked what could have been. We could have had like better story and stuff happen instead of we got to do everything this frickin' ghost haunting us in our brain wants. Geralt's getting kind of picky about the storm. I better get out of here. This way. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Well, mostly found something interesting. I mostly had the character stand there and the brain gets poured on, and his outfit's probably not very comfortable anymore. You know what? Never mind.